Okay, I'm hoping that this is recording. Let me just check it is recording or not. We may be in the shits. Hold on 1 second. Just checking that this is recording. We are recording, good. Okay. Hi guys, welcome to another video. Okay. In this video I'm going to be showing you something. Okay, I'm going to be showing you some just stuff I've been experimenting with. Now, you know, I love to create art. I'm not the best artist, but I'm not great, but I love to create art. More specifically, I like to create 2D art, and that's like comics and animation, mostly animation. I love making my own stories and characters and everything. Okay, I've always been into art, you know, my whole life. I love comic book stuff. I like, you know, anime type stuff, manga, anime, specific ones. I grew up watching a lot of like the older anime and manga films and movies. I love all that, but I'm not a great artist, as I say. I really am not great. You know, big favourites of mine are like action-packed ones. Like everybody knows the classics. Like, you know, obviously you got Ghost in the Shell, Akira, things like that. And Ninja Scroll was a great one. Fist of the North Star. You know, there's other shows out there like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto that people like, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, I grew up really watching things like, I like the gritty, the hardcore, mature, you know, action type ones, you know, especially like martial arts stuff and stuff. So, you know, obviously like plus you got the Street Fighter animated movie. I used to love that, Street Fighter 2, the animated one, and there's other ones too, and like in the series. Massive fan of Fist of the North Star. I used to love watching that. Anyway, enough of that aside. Okay, yeah, I just love to create my own stories and characters. Anyway, now if you're like me, you're going to have trouble. Like, it's quite hard to draw certain things. What's the hardest? You know, is it harder to draw or paint? You know, characters or backgrounds? You know. For me, I find they both have their challenges. I find drawing characters very hard. I find, you know, there's ways you can cheat for drawing backgrounds as well as characters. But cheating isn't, you know, it depends what you call cheating, you know. Depends what you call cheating. You can, it's arguable. You can say, like, you know, basically in terms of creating art and visuals, what is cheating? I mean, ultimately you're creating a story with your own visuals, hopefully from your own imagination, but you may use various tools and things to help you along the way for characters or backgrounds. Like, I think drawing backgrounds is very hard because of all the perspective and everything, but then also characters are also because of all the poses and positions of the people you're drawing, the figures, and all the anatomy and everything. That can be hard too. But there are lots of different ways people do create art. I mean, you're not going to complain to an artist, are you? That's or anyone, an architect, of old school architect or whatever. So someone who's going to use a ruler to draw a straight line. You're not going to complain, are you? I mean, you know, it's a tool, right? It's a tool, and we've got great technology out there now. I agree. It does get a bit boring when you see that how much stuff out there. Like, you don't want to lose the quality. You know, I agree. There's a lot of stuff out there what you see nowadays where people just Photoshop things, photobash things. You know, like so much that there's not been much If you lose the creativeness, that's no good. You know, it's like you got like concept art, for example. Concept art, you've got two different kinds, right? There's one, as I see it, concept art, there's ones where they like photobash or part photobash, where they use photos and they edit pieces of photos together and make it look like a different image, and they paint on it as well and change things. It's all cool and everything. I've got nothing against any kind of art. I love it all, is what I'm trying to say. But I'm just saying, you know, then you see like actual digital paintings where people have used many different kinds of methods to create like amazing works of art and concept art and stuff. Now, when it comes to art, and I've shown this in previous videos of mine too, if you want to call that crap art, no, but I'm just saying that some of the stuff that I do, okay, I'm just saying, like, I like to practice many different ways. So yeah, I do a lot of freehand drawing, of characters and backgrounds. I do freehand. I always practice. I always observe. Sometimes I use photos and things for reference to help me, like in a study. But I like to freehand practice. It's very important to practice freehand. But there are artists out there that use many different ways, the same way I do as well. Like where, you know, the vision's important. So you've got methods of creating things, and you've got the vision you want to get out and show what you show. So you can trace, draw over photos, for example, and rotoscope. It's called rotoscoping, and that's been used in various, lots of different animated cartoons, even a couple of anime ones. They may or may not be classed as good films, but you know, I think it's pretty good. Some of the stuff I've seen. Sometimes it's got a certain look to it, but rotoscoping is a very good way of creating animation, like drawing over the top of video frames from real, actual live footage, and then, you know, so you film yourself doing movements or find footage from somewhere, and then draw on top of that to create movements. And I'm actually in the process of like trying to do a bit of that as well. But of course, you use it to whatever extent. I'm not talking about tracing exactly the character, the people, and I'm saying like just helping you. It helps you study too for anatomy and movement. It's a good way to study the poses and things, the positions, and the human figure. And I'm going to be doing a lot of that to help practice. And what I do is I design my characters my way, how they look. They're my characters. You know, I'm not tracing people. Or, you know, I'm not drawing myself. When I draw on top of the stuff, I design the characters, of course. But you know, it's great to get that fluid, nice motion of movement sometimes. But I do a bit of both. As I do freehand and I do that. There's lots of things you can do. So you can rotoscope. You could use 3D and rotoscope that, like make things in 3D, like 3D scenery, and then you can use that. You can combine 2D and 3D if you want to do it that way. You can draw or paint backgrounds yourself for shows. You can make 3D models or take photos of real scenery, whatever it is, and you can draw on top of all this as well and use it as a guide, even just as a guide, not tracing everything, you know. You can work with different textures from like real photos or drawn or painted ones and work with those, and, you know, mix them all up, real stuff from photos or video or 3D. You can use all these different ways as reference or guides or whatever to help you get your final vision out. It may be as simple as just doing a few simple freehand lines and a few paint strokes, and that might be it. You know, you can go freehand. The beauty of art is you've got to be limitless, I think you say. So it's not like we're limiting ourselves and giving up and not practicing, but there's many different ways that you can create art. I believe sometimes you can become very, very rigid and a prisoner to your own limitations, and therefore holding you back from what you might to accomplish. I mean, you know, if you were just to say, look, nothing matters, I'm going to get this vision out of my head, it doesn't matter what way it's done, that's my vision, you know, it's my vision, and you get it out, you know, that vision. I mean, there's two different things. You've got artists in the world that sit and paint people, draw people, that whatever's in front of them, like real life. You know, they're doing a great thing. They've got great skill. You know, it looks like photorealistic, really realistic, you know, what they've done. But then you've got other artists that just, you know, make it from their mind, whether it's simple art or deep art, whatever it is, or whether they're partly looking around and getting inspiration and then they make it based off of that, but it's their own, it's differently designed. I think that's amazing too. It's all amazing, it's all great, you know. So don't let anything hold you back, I would say, because I'm not great myself, and I don't like cheating either on certain things. When you feel the frustrations because you want to draw certain things or paint certain things from your mind. Another thing is, like, it's so crazy because I spend hours and days sometimes trying to work out how I'm going to draw or paint something, and then I'll look at other people's stuff, or I'll look at other methods that I could use, like some of these methods I'm incorporating here that I'm saying to you, and I'll take them and I'll look at them and I'll be thinking, and I'll start to learn from that, and oh, this is good. And the funny thing is, after that, it gives me more vision and it helps me see more clearly how to draw without doing all that stuff. It's a studying thing as well. These tools are not only tools to help you cheat or whatever, they are quick, ways to getting your vision out. And it's okay, I don't want to keep saying the word cheating, but they are literally also a good way. They teach you a lot too, and you can become, so you don't have to do everything one way, is what I'm saying. Some stuff you can do freehand, you can do a bit of other stuff and mix it all in, and as long as you get your own creative imagination out there to tell your own stories, and as long as it looks nice, at least to you, and you're happy with it, But yeah, definitely do practice drawing constantly, and painting and observing and being creative. It's got to come from you, more than just like copying, I think. But you know what I mean. Yeah, that's me finishing my babble there. Now I'm going to get on to showing you some cool stuff, hopefully semi-cool. I don't know if you will like it or not, but I'm going to put down this. So I'm going to show you a few images first. Do check out my other videos, by the way. I've made some videos recently showing some of this stuff, okay, on my channel. I made a few, let me just have a little quick check here quickly. Hold on. Where's my my goodness, excuse me, there's crap coming on my screen there. These silly advertisements you get. Yes, you can see my channel here on YouTube, okay, my main channel. Yeah, so you got like, a couple of videos I made on 3D stuff recently here, this one and this one, so blocks of imagination in Blender, and then you got modeling with 3D object palettes in Blender. So you got these two. That's a long one, and then the other one's a shorter one, as I say. About 3D stuff. We're going to look at some stuff now, though. Okay. Let's turn this off. So let's have a look. So first of all, I want to show you some of the programs I do use. Okay. I have Photoshop, but I do have Photoshop on my computer, and it's great. Obviously, it's great. But and I've also got Sketchbook. Okay, Sketchbook Pro. It's a free one. It's cool as well. I've got quite a few art softwares and animation softwares that I use. You can do art in Blender too, like 2D drawing and animation. You can do a bit of that. Other softwares I've got here for like 2D art, obviously. Got Paint 3D, Photoshop, various ones that I use. I'm just checking what I got here to show you. Where's the one? Pencil 2D, yeah, Pencil 2D, Envy, various ones. Okay, but let me just show you these four. Okay, here I'm going to show you now. I use these four. Okay, Critter's just amazing for art. They always talk about the art, and it's amazing for art. It really is. Painting is absolutely phenomenal, brilliant. But I don't hear the animation thing mentioned much. The power of Critter for its animation is great. You can do 2D animation. It's really, really good for 2D animation, right? Just say that frame animation. Fire Alpaca is another one I use. Okay, Fire Alpaca, which is another simple one to use. But just recently, I re-downloaded and installed another two software. All of these are free, by the way. These four are free. Okay. Paint.net is more like a simple photo editing software, but it's really good for art as well. It's simple. And Artweaver free 7 I've got here. Okay, so let me just show you them. So I'd say Critter's the best. Fire Alpaca is like, I use it all the time. It's lightweight and it's just like, it's very, very packed full of good stuff. It's great for comics as well, But then, Paint.net and Artweaver are just simple but good. I'll just say that, okay? Artweaver, I should give it more credit because it's got some good like paint brushes and stuff in there as well. But they've got some good little neat effects in there that I want to show you in a moment. So what I'm going to, that's why I've got them mainly. So let's just have a look. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to open up some images and show you some images. Right, some of these you may have seen before that I've done. This is a 3D thing. I just blocked out some 3D models, 3D blocks and things. I just put a grid texture all over the whole thing to help me for guiding. So I could take something like this and draw on top of it, per se, on another layer, and just use this as a guide. Here's another look of it with some lighting in Blender, and another version of that here. Then we got this 3D one I made, okay, this was totally made just in Blender. You'll see the video for these. Now these are what I want to show you here. Photos like this. What's this? This is a photo texture of an actual building, and it's basically just projected this material everywhere, all over a bunch of randomly or creatively placed blocks in Blender, just cubes stretched into different shapes and various shapes in Blender, 3D objects, and I just project this cube map but I just put the texture basically all over the whole thing, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, over them to create some like building sort of scenes. Okay, you can see another angle here and here. I'm just getting different angles. Look at these creative angles I'm getting. See, I just put a load of blocks together, I shaped some shapes, and I put this photo over the whole thing. It just copies and pastes, you know, it goes everywhere. It just looks like interesting, right, somewhat. And the reason is not to actually use this for 3D, it's to help me with my 2D designs. I've been trying to find out ways of doing like art. I mean, you can just use photos and like make them look like drawings of like real life, like take photos and stuff and then make them look like, there's ways of changing them like with effects. You can do it in Photoshop or some of the art softwares I mentioned here to make them look like 2D drawings or paintings, you know. There's a great there's a manga artist called Inio Asano. You might know him. He's known for doing that, and some people think it's cheating, but some people think it's like really creative. And what you can do is you can adjust it further by drawing on top of that and then working it, and you know, freehand mixed with that, and it looks good, you know. But anyway, I had the idea of like, how about, you know, doing the same thing but like making 3D stuff, and he's actually mentioned that too. He mentioned it's a good thing to do too. He's talked about using Unreal Engine to do that as well. So you can use 3D stuff and treat it as though they were photos, where you can get all the angles you want and set up your world kind of thing, very realistically, right? Just like what you'd do with real life photos, and use that as reference for your backgrounds in your comics or animation. So here, got a few different angles you can see, which is a photo on top of some simple shapes. This is one I made without using a photo. I just literally made one window, part of a building, and I just made it into another building, and I just played around, copied and pasted, stretched and shaped this thing. I put a few different materials on it. It's not got any photos or anything, like photos of actual buildings. It's just a few materials, stone, like for side materials like stone, rock for the the walls of the buildings, and then black, shiny black for the windows, and white frames there. And I just shaped them and made like a city scene sort of thing here. I was trying it a different way. Like, what if I didn't actually use photos? What if I just tried to make some buildings myself with materials? You know, how about that? You can see a different angle here, here. I like this one. I really like this one. Kind of good shots. You can get some really good architectural kind of shot. You take some time. It doesn't, you know, get creative. It's not as hard as it seems once you get moving, making a few shapes. Now look here. Now this, what you're looking at here, is another effect I put on top of one of them, one of the images, to give it this kind of a look. It looks like a drawing, like painting type thing. Okay, drawing like comic book type thing. And I was pretty happy with that. A bit rough, but I like some of the areas. Now this one I absolutely love. This is a breakthrough for me almost. You can see on the left we have the original photo one here. Photo version. I mean, based off of the 3D. It's a 3D thing with a photo of a building on it. But then over here, you can see I've changed it to look like a painting with some very, very light lines as well. Like light sketch lines. Very colourful and nice. I painted a sky there just simply as well. Here we can see the other one again side by side. The other one I just showed you, the 3D, and then this here. If I can move on. Now we can see this one. Okay, this is the breakthrough one, as I say it in full. You can see it's got some soft lines there. Okay, a bit of a glow added to give it a nice look. Bumped up the colour saturation so it's nice and clear. If I move along here now, this is one I just did a moment ago. The lines are much stronger in this one. It's just the way it turned out. It's a bit rough, but I like the look, you know. It's based off of the same kind of photos. So move along. This is another one I did. I painted this little extra, I don't know, these poles, whatever they are here with the wires and stuff, simply just drawn on top. But yeah, you see how this is done. See, so another one here. There's another one I did with the windows. I just drew myself. This is different. This is like I actually drew a window. It's really rough. I know how I've done it, but you can see how I drew the window. And then you've got other areas where it's actually got materials as well. So actual 3D photos and materials on these wooden panels and things here. But it's just like they're 3D. It's a 3D model, you know. We just copied that and pasted it. So you could take something like this further, maybe draw on top of the lines a bit better. As you can see, the lines are a bit broken up. Sometimes you want that effect though. You could add more colour. You know, I can imagine this with colour. It'd be pretty cool, probably, right? With colour, yeah, it would be cool. And you could, you know, as I say, you can add things to it, like draw on top of this. Is what I'm saying. You can also draw on top of it. Don't forget. You know, which is really good. So let's move on. That's a rough one I made, based off of those shapes, based off of those first photos I showed you, just like plain block shapes with a grid attached, grid texture. But anyway, let's hurry up. Oh, it's the last one. I guess the last one in the collection. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these photos and show you how we do it. You know. I want to use one that I haven't used before. Maybe we've used most of them already though. We can use this one maybe. How about using this one? Something's telling me no, but hold on. Let's check what we got. We'll do a couple. Hold on. I'll do this one again, and I'll just flip it or something. Okay, I'll do this one again. No, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so what we need to do first, if you don't have Photoshop, okay, Photoshop's got effects and stuff in it where you can do this stuff a little bit more easy to some degree, a bit different. Okay, Photoshop's got some great filters and stuff in it, effects. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, okay, these 4 softwares I've just shown you, okay, here, these 4 over here, okay, look, Krita, Fire Alpaca, Paint.net and Artweaver 7, which we may or may not use in this video, not too sure. Hold on. We're going to drag this photo into Paint.net. It's a good little software. First of all, I'll show you what we got here. If I go to effects, okay, and go to artistic, and then go down to pencil sketch, look what you get immediately. You get that immediately. Now, I have not found this in any other softwares except for Photoshop. I've played around with the threshold, I've played around with other stuff, finding lines, things like that, all different kinds of stuff, threshold, you know, the curves, so many things you can play around with, like in Krita and stuff like that, but you just don't have this pencil sketch. It's really good, and you can change some of the lines I say and things, the range, the amount of detail, see things. I mean, that looks great already. I mean, you could play around with something like, you could like just mess around and change it even further. That looks good already. You can take it a bit down, lower range, see a little bit of detail you might want. That looks pretty cool already. But what I like to do is I like to have the pencil tip size low, and then, you know, the range just enough up so we can see, I mean, the bare lines a little bit more than the bare lines, I'd say, like just a little bit of detail in there. You can up the pencil tip a little tiny bit if you want to boost them up a bit more, you know. So I think we're going to go with that, okay. so you can see a little bit, a tiny bit of shading in there, and you can just bump that so the lines are a bit strong. Just play around with it. File, or is it export or save as a PNG. I'm going to save it on my desktop. Just quickly, part of this is going to be part of the step, the process. Okay, save it there. Just go yes, save it out, and that's that. Then we just close down paint.net. I'm just using it for that effect for now. We're going to go back into it again later on. Next thing we need to do is go drag that pencil sketch, this one, into Fire Alpaca. Okay, it's in there now. Turn off the thing there. And with that, you then go to Filter and Extracting Lines. And you see what's happened immediately. It's done a perfect job of it. Let me just go to cancel first. I'm going to make another layer below this just so you can see very clearly. You don't have to do this, but I'm just doing this to show you. I'm just going to make another layer below it just so you can see very clearly what it's doing. I've made a yellow one just to show you. Okay, you don't have to do this. Just have the one. But what you do is when you go to Filter and go to Extracting Lines, it's got rid of the white background that we had. See, it's actually transparent. Okay, but I've just basically, you know, it's just basically just taken the lines out, so there's no white background, no background at all. I've put a yellow background here just to show you clearly what it looks like, so the lines come out nice and clear. But what you do is you can then play around with these lines a bit more here by playing with these toggles here to bring them up a bit more if you wish to. Make them nice and strong, or just keep them faint. You know, you can do that. It brings back quite a lot of detail. It's quite amazing. Have it simple but like strong. Now go to OK. It just refines it a bit more if you want to do that. But let's just get rid of that yellow background now. We don't need that, as I say. But you see what I mean? It's given this checkered, what I'm saying, this look. See, so it doesn't have a white background. Okay. Now I'm going to go File. Save as is okay, another version, or we can just go to save. I'm going to go to save, and it should just save it. Keep it as transparent this time. Okay, so now we've changed it to transparent thing. Now we're going to close down Fire Alpaca. Yes, are you with me? Whether you're using a photo of real life or whether you're using a photo of 3D stuff, you just simply bring the image into, as I say, first bring your photo into paint.net and give the pencil effect under filters, pencil sketch, and then you bring it into Fire Alpaca and go to Extracting Lines, and then convert that image, save that image out again as I've just done here, where now it's just the lines and it doesn't have the white background, you know, which is cool. So now for the next step, I'm a little bit embarrassed. I've kind of forgotten if I should use Krita or Artweaver, but something's telling me it's Artweaver. I think it's Artweaver. Okay, yeah. So we've not even used Krita. Krita's like the best one for animation, but we're going to use Artweaver, okay, for the background. I think that's the way we do it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I'm going to just drag this. Oh, we didn't have to actually close down Fire Alpaca just now. We could have left it open, Fire Alpaca, just now. So I've just brung this back into Fire Alpaca. Okay, we're in Fire Alpaca. Okay, so we're still here in Fire Alpaca. Yes. Okay, is that right? Yeah, Fire Alpaca, right? So this is what we're in. But what I want to do is I want to find the original photo, what we had, the colour one, the actual photo, the photo one, and I'm going to drag it into Artweaver 3.7 I've got here. It's here it is in its glory, right? And the reason we're doing that is good. This is what I'm using. You don't have to use this. For this next step, you can basically use Photoshop if you want to, you know, Clip Studio Paint, whatever you want to use, right? Probably Coral, I don't know, whatever you use, other ones you use, you know. But I'm going to show you this effect here, right? Filter, hang on, stylize, I think that's right. Filter, stylize, and then oilify. and then it brings up a little thing. It's kind of small to see, but what I did is I maxed it right up to the top there. You can drag it right up so it's like really like an oil painting, and maxed it into the highest it can go. Go to OK. Wait for a minute, it loads up. Wait for this bar to load, and it will just turn into like a painting, a rough looking painting sort of thing. Okay, it's pretty ugly, right? Pretty ugly. But what we do is we just basically we then go to File, Save As. Don't save over your original. Just save it somewhere else on the desktop. As a PNG is better. Should be the same size as the other one if you've not messed around. So Portable Network Graphics PNG. If you've not changed the size, it should be the same. Just save it out as it is. And turn that off. So now we've got two images, right? So if I close down that for a moment, if I go into Fire Alpaca again, where we are our nice sketches. If I bring this one in, okay, if I drag the painting one, you know, onto the actual layers area here, wherever you've got that on your thing, and then it's going to be on top, but you just drag it below, so it's below the lines now. You see it's not fitting 100% perfectly. That's one thing you will notice straight away. But what you do is you go to that bottom layer now and you play around with it. You go to the levels, for example, and you can play around with like the brightness and stuff like that first. Bring up the brightness or different things, like see, do that. Play around with the levels on these two bars here until you get something you're looking like, you know, you're looking for. Okay, save, go to OK, then do it again, or go to Hue and bring up the saturation, right up the saturation, bring those blues up, you see, and bring up the brightness on there as well. Excuse me. Then go to OK, then do it again, Hue, saturation, see, brightness again. We're getting there, you see what I'm saying? Boom. Okay, the lines are a bit off, I know, because it's the way I've done it. There are different ways you can do this, but you can then go to different things, like levels is one thing. I showed you the bars we can change on there. You can also go to tone curve and play around clicking on these lines here. It will give points, and then you just drag them. You can also reset that as well. But you can click on anywhere on these points here, and you'll find that moving them around gives different effects over here. See, and getting a kind of comic-y look, right? So you might not want it so strong like that. You might want to make it a certain way, but you just play with these settings, you know. There you go. And again, once that's done, you go to OK. Then you can go again, play again if you want to see with the levels, the brightness, or whatever it's going to be. Get carried away with the saturation again. Bam, bump it right up, and it. No, it ain't too bad. It's not really exaggerating. That looks pretty cool. Right? So play with the hue if you want to do that. I think the blue's okay because we want a blue sky anyway. The brightness, the different things you can do. In fact, you could even do this in. Well, I'll show you in a moment in Paint.net, because you're going to add a glow effect as well. So that's that. Okay. Now the pencil sketch itself, the lines, you'll notice they're a bit faint. You can go over here and duplicate that layer to make like more lines. See that how I did that? If I get rid of that, you might want to have it like this. I think this is pretty good as it is. I really do. You can even turn it down even further, the opacity, to make them really soft, like pencil lines, just about visible. But without them, it just seems a bit dead, you see. But having some lines kind of holds it together, I find. But you can have them right up, or you can even duplicate that layer on top to make them even stronger. And I'm going to do that for now. Now I've just merged those two layers down, so I had two layers of those lines there. Now I'm going to merge these down with the whole painting thing, the whole thing, so it's one thing now. And I'm going to go to the magic wand tool and click here. Luckily it does cuts that out. Okay, go there. You can hold down shift and then click on the other areas as well, but I'm just going to press delete on the keyboard on these little areas. Boom, boom. Depends on what photos, it might work better with certain ones, but you got that there. I could then maybe like go behind and like put a photo of a sky. I've got one I made. Here's what I made earlier. Hold on, I'll show you. Hold on one second, I'll show you if I can find it. Can I find it? Textures. my painted ones. There we go. I've got a sky texture I made here, and this is one I made. Okay, sky texture. That was just made literally. It was a photo. It was a photo of the sky, and I just put some different effects in. I forgot if I did this in. I probably did it in one of those I just showed you, like Fire Alpaca. Probably Critter or something. It doesn't matter. You just go into one of these. You can do it in Artweaver. You got art like oily paint effect or something like that to make it look like a painting, you know. And you do it in any of those. Okay, oily effect. So just try out with any of these softwares I'm showing you. I'm going to drag this in now anyway. As I say, the size is probably going to be wrong, but I'll just drag it on top. If I do that, it just adds another document. So let's close that document, drag it over here to this area on top of the layers, and it will put it on top. But what you do is you just drag it below, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select, go to transform. We're in Fire Alpaca, don't forget. Drag the whole thing out so it's like the right sort of size, you know. Bang. Okay, go to OK, and obviously it's a bit too dark, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to filter, levels, and play around with that a bit, make it a bit brighter, see, so it's not too clashy with the rest of it, you know. Boom. If I feel that the top layer is a bit too strong there with the colours and that, I can also play with that a bit, you know, with the hue, take down the saturation a bit. Once you've got the sky in there, you might want to do certain things, you know, or you might want to just keep it right up, you know, keep it right up, you know, but like this maybe. Okay, I'm kind of liking it already, you know. I'm going to merge those two layers down as one image, and that's pretty good as it is. I think I could go to filter and then go down to Gaussian blur and bring the blur down very, very low, but just have a very subtle blur. That's nice actually. Yeah, see, go to OK, gives a preview. I was gonna like say not, but let's see what it looks like without that. If I go to undo, bit stiff, right? Bit stiff. It looks good though, but it's a bit stiff. Go to redo. It's nice and soft now, but I'm gonna go to undo and leave it stiff and rigid. Like it looks kind of sharp and nice. Another thing you might want to do, I forgot to mention, if I just undo, I'm going to undo a few steps, go back here, undo. So I've separated the sky now again from this. I want to duplicate this layer, the buildings, and I'm going to go. I've made a copy of that. I'm going to go to filter, levels, and bring it down slightly in the brightness. Okay. You guessed why. I'm going to do some shades, some shadowing. Okay, so going to OK. I'm going to bring this one lower below the other one, so we're going to paint some shadows on basically. I'm going to imagine where my light's coming from. Okay, so let's just imagine that the light's coming from the left hand side. Okay, I'm going to get my eraser, hard eraser it's going to be, and move this across. Well, first thing I need to do is I need to save this file before. I'm going to save it as a Fire Alpaca file. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this because I forgot to turn on something on my computer, so I need to just quickly save it for 1 second. Thanks for waiting. So I'm going to close this down for 1 second. Okay, I need to open up something now. My pen driver thing. I've had to like manually turn it off and on recently, so it works properly. Okay, so now I'm going to reopen that file. I saved it as a project file rather than an image, so it's still separated, you know. So I've got my light buildings on top, and then I've got my darker copy of that below it, and I've got my sky, the one layer at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to go to the pen. I'm going to go click on over here. You'll be able to turn it into an eraser version of itself, and I'm going to just go over here and start. I don't want to be too clumsy, to be honest with you, but you know, I'm going to have to try and paint them in. Well, another way you can do it is just use like the select tool here, the select box one, and go to, you know, the polygon one or something like that. You could do that, you know, or freehand lasso tool might work really well. Try the freehand lasso tool. I don't think I'm going to do much of a good job of it, but let's see. I've got to think which areas are in the dark, right? Since more of this image is going to be in darkness, I don't want to be painting in loads of shadow. So I think we better put the shadow one on top, and I'm going to cut out where the light's going to be. That's what I'm going to do, okay? And I'm going to actually be lazy and just use an eraser pen. It's just more precise. I'm going to erase where I think the light's going to be shining. So I'm erasing from the dark to show where the light is. And I've done that a bit wrong already because there's a shadow. You can imagine where the light's going to be, see? Okay, good. So light's going to cut straight through here, isn't it, you know? Just changing my brush size as I go. Didn't think this would turn into a clumsy art video here, but like, you know. So this is going to be, I guess all this area would be kind of light, wouldn't it? All this over here, bit of a shadow in there, I think. Just leave that flat, I think. So I know I'm doing a really clumsy job of it, painting this on here. There are different ways you could do this as well, as you probably guessed. So a little bit of a shadow there. Let's see. A bit of a light. I'm trying to work this out. So you don't have to do a perfect job of it, you know. I'm just like trying to do what I can. So this here, I want to show there's a bit of shadow over here. See, kind of thing. Something like that. I don't know. It's not perfect. I know. If you wanted to go a bit more accurate, you could do it. There are actually ways I could have done this. The best way to I could have probably have done this was probably just like actually used 3D with the 3D model in the view. I could have like used actual shadows, like made it 3D. You know, with the it was 3D. You know, I mean, like I could have actually used the lighting in the 3D scene. You know, that's what I could have done. So I've not done a perfect job of this, I know, but you know. You get the idea. We're just doing a rough thing here. You're probably looking at this thinking, oh my god, you know, you could paint better shadows than that, you know. So I'm just doing a bit of lighting to show more or less where it would be, you know. So that's really light in the light there. So let's make those a bit darker, those shadows. You see, get the idea. You see what I'm trying to say? To show where that is. I'm not going to make it over the top. Go to OK. Good. I'm going to just merge those down, those two layers down as one, and then I'm going to play around with the brightness a little bit on there, just to bring it a bit up, just to make it a bit not so awful. Hang on, let's just check what we got. So I think that will do anyway. And I'm going to merge that down with the sky, and then I'm going to do a nice little trick that I like to do in this, which is, you don't have to do this by the way, I'm just going to do this. Go to the gradient tool here, the gradient, go to the colours and just choose red and yellow or something. I'm just going to give it like a tint, some colour, like make another layer on top of this one and do a gradient to make the yellow at the top, maybe on this angle, closer to where the sun would be. Kind of sunset kind of thing. You don't have to do this. I don't really want to have it too dark anyway. Red sort of makes things darker. I'm going to go to the blending modes up here and go down to multiply. See? And then bring that down in the opacity a bit. So you've got a bit of red in there. Okay, then I'm going to merge that down. Then I'm going to make another layer on top. Do a similar thing where with some reds, some pinks, different things like that, different colours, you know, going in there, lighter pinks or whatever. Go to colour for the blending mode if you want to do that. Play and bring that down a bit, put in a bit of pink in there, different things. You don't have to do this, I'm just playing around, you know. You can go to overlay as well. Where is it? Overlay, things like this. You see, try different things to get some nice views, nice looks. See, I've merged all those down now. I was playing with the opacity the whole time. Then go back and check if you want to see what I was doing. I've merged those down. So a couple of gradient layers. I've gone one by one, and then you go to filter. You can play with the curve again if you want to. We still want to keep the main colours that it had, really, the original colours more so, you know. So I was playing with that, playing with the levels, just trying to be artistic there. creative. I'm kind of going overboard now. I really am going overboard. I know I am, you know, but we're just going to go with that before I mess the whole thing up. Leave it like that. You can play with the hue if you want to a bit. Bring back some of them blues maybe. Not greens, hold on. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to save this out. Okay, I'm going to save this as an image, a PNG. Save it as whatever you want to save it as. PNG. Bang. Okay. Turn off that. You know, and then we're going to bring that into paint.net again. Now we're in paint.net. You can see it looks nice, comic-y, kind of rigid. The whole design was made by me, you could say, because like the photo for the actual building wasn't. That is pasted all over this 3D model. And nor is the sky. The sky was actually a photo, you know, but I could have painted it, you see. But I turned it into a painting looking thing, and then the buildings are just shapes though, designed by me. So you could have taken a lot of work and worked the 3D shape, you know, and you don't have to, you know, use an actual photo. You could use you can make it all yourself with textures, or even draw a window, a couple of windows, and then just paste that all over a 3D model, a few details, like a few lines. And plus, don't forget, you can draw on top of this too. I could draw extra things. You can mix things in. You can use trees or whatever you want to do. But let's just have a look. Okay, we're going to go to effects, okay, and I'm going to go to photo, glow, and you get this crazy thing. But you can play with the settings to get what you want. Sometimes you may have a really nice look. You might want a nice bit of a glow. You might want to go in there like that, so you get some more look to it. It looks really like painted sort of thing. And I'm really happy I had this come to mind yesterday to go back and look at this, because I deleted this software a long time ago. You know, I've saved that as it is now. Let's go to the adjustments and just play with the saturation again. Crazy with that saturation. The colours, sometimes I go crazy, I know. So that's that. You can do different things there. You know, look at that, I've changed it a bit. Okay. You know, playing around with the what else can you play with? Posterize. I'm not going to do that, it messes the whole thing up. But yeah, you can go to auto level, and it will like balance things out. You see, I've done that. It was trying to match things out in its own sense per se, but it's not what we want. And you can do things here, so you can go to oil painting and stuff here. So it's got oil painting. You can, yeah, I could have done that in this. I could have just done that in this rather than using the oilify thing. Just go to undo for a second, and then undo again, and undo again. Yeah, I could have. I'm just saying, I could have gone to like oil, done the oil painting thing in this. So you may like even be able to do it in this. You know, just make one layer. This is as I say, paint.net. Okay, so you can go to a blur, soft blur maybe. If you want to do that again, bring that down to 1. I think this one looks alright as it is. I really don't think we need to do much with it, you know. Let's try to play. Let's see what it looks like in black and white. Black and white too. Colour's nice though. Let's go to. I'm gonna flip the whole damn thing. Hold on. Flip the image horizontal. See what that looks like. I want to see certain things, you know. Looks a bit strange after looking at it for that long, the way it was. But select all. I could maybe choose this and then get different views. You might want to use for a comic or something, you know. You know what I mean? I'll go in. Different looks, whatever, I don't know. Yeah. Gone back to how it was. Edit. Select in this is, by the way, is under deselect. Select and deselect is under edit in this. You got a gradient there as well. I didn't see that. Let's just see what we got. So just playing around with these different things. You can go to one of these. What are they called? Vignette, Vinay. What do we call them? I don't know. Fancy. But I don't want to have that. But yeah, going for that old school comic kind of look, I was pretty happy with this. Pretty cool. With the contrast a bit if you want, brightness. I think we've done everything we possibly could to this one, to be honest with you. You know, to mess it up. Wow. Let's go back to how we had it anyway. So that's basically okay. I'm just going to save that as it is. So let's just say, right, if I turn it off for a second, so let's just check what we got, right? Let's just try and do those steps again, really quickly, right? I'm going to do the same steps again with the photo. I'm just deleting my original lines I had there. So we went from this, sorry, not from that, that's the photo, sorry, yeah, damn. We went from, where was it? We went from the sky you just put in, as I say, as a background, okay, the sky with the sky part. You just put the background in as a sky, but let's just have a look, right? So we went from this, okay, this image, photo, from 3D to, which I made in Blender, to this, which I think is alright for a cartoon background, let's face it. Now, you know, however many photos you want to use, like, or real photos you've taken, or actual just images how much you want to draw freehand, or how much you want to paint, or how much you want to paint on top of these, because this might not be a finished image. Don't forget, you can draw on top of this, change things, put some signs in, some different things, and you know, you don't just rely on that like that and that's it. You know, you can make brushes out of entire buildings and paint them like small buildings in the distance and big ones and all kinds of stuff. But I'm saying, like, you know, you can make 3D models the way, like I said, yourself, even like some of these ones like this I made here. It's not even with photos, it's just literally made, you know. So I think what we'll do is I'll try and make one out of this now, just really quickly following the same steps, alright, to try and get something like this. Okay, let's have a look what we can do. Might not look as good because this one's like a simply done model, but I'm going to bring this into, so let's review, okay. Step 1, bring it into paint.net. Then you go to effects, effects, artistic, pencil sketch, and then you're going to play around with some of the settings, just so you've got a bit of detail in there, and they see a little bit. And it is fairly a simple one because they're like grey. I want to keep the pencil tip fairly small, like 1 or 2. I'd say the pencil tip size usually. The range just enough to make it like not so bland, like make it a little bit broken up, like a bit of like grey, a bit of like, do you see, like I've got a bit of grey there and stuff. Yeah, right. That is a black and white seeming like one, don't forget. Yeah, fair enough, but I'm just saying. I'm going to go to OK. That's a pencil sketch, right? Pencil sketch. Yeah, this one you might not even need too much actually in this one, but okay. Pencil sketch. I'm gonna select the background. Oh, am I? No, hang on. Let's undo that. I think I've done the effect a bit too strong, didn't I? Go to artistic, pencil sketch. Bring that down like to 1 maybe. Let's see what we got. Make it a bit simpler. Because we just really want the lines. Yeah, that's what we want. We want the lines. We don't want too much of that detail because we're going to use that in a different way. So I'll have it a little bit like this, like very light. The lines are the important part for this, really. So let's just save that right like that. Okay. Right. Yes. Save as desktop. I'm putting on the desktop. It's up to you. Right. PNG is what I'm doing. Save that out as a PNG. Now I'm going to go to close that whole. To close it, get rid of it. Just turn off that. Delete that from the project. Then bring in the photo again. And I'm going to try this time with bringing the oil paints look in here rather than going to Artweaver. If you remember, we went to Artweaver before, so let's just see. Right, Artweaver. So this is when paint.net. We're going to go to artistic. Now we're going to go to oil painting. We're going to play with that, so you've got more control over the thing, sort of thing. We're going to make this really like simplified, you know. You see, simplified sort of thing. It makes it a bit rough though, is the only thing, but whatever. I've done that. I'm going to add it again. Do that again as well. Play around with whatever amount of detail you want to have in it. That's what I'm going to say with that. Then I'm going to play around with the brightness in this. I'll go to the adjustments and go to either brightness and contrast or the curves. It's up to you. And we're going to bring that down a bit there. I want to make it soft, see. Like that for now. Bring that down. I'm going to bring my pencil sketch this one, into Fire Alpaca. So we've just used paint.net and Fire Alpaca for this one. The only reason we used Artweaver was to get the oil paint look anyway, the same as we've just done there, but we're just testing to see which one's better right now. If we can do it in paint.net, then we don't need Artweaver. And we're not going to be using Photoshop or Krita or anything else for this. We're just using paint.net and Fire Alpaca. These four, as I say, are free to download. The good software. Okay, so Fire Alpaca. We're going in Fire Alpaca for one simple reason, mainly, and that's to take this pencil image and go to Filter, Extracting Lines, then play around with that a little bit to make it a bit stronger or whatever you want to get. Then go to OK. Then just save over what you've got and make sure it's a transparent background though, because it's already a PNG. Just go to Save rather than Save As. Keep it as transparent and go to OK. Now it's made that transparent and it's got rid of the white background. Now I'm going to go back to this one, double click, just bring it over here. I'm going to drag these lines, drag this on top of this. Go to Add Layer, and it's just done that, you see? Pretty good, right? Pretty good, I must say. I was worried about it, to be honest with you, I really was. If you can't see your layers and stuff, go to the options up here. You've got the options for colours, layers and stuff. Double click on your layer. You can turn down the opacity of your lines if you wish to. You know, we'll keep them strong, it's up to you. You know, and you can also go to your colour bottom one, which is looking like a painting, right? I think it's done a better job somewhat because it's kept the colour at least within those lines, whereas when we did Artweaver, it's kind of like all over the place, but it still looked pretty cool, right? Hand painted. We're going to go into adjustments again though, and we're going to play around with the levels, I guess, this time. We could have done the brightness again, but playing around with these. See, look. You can, yeah, you see, look, see, straight away. It's got, and you see how it's got the shadows in there this time. We didn't have to add the shadows. The shadows are in there because it's part of the 3D scene. I think in the image I showed you with where we used the photos, I didn't actually bother to keep the. I didn't even bother to give shadow put the light. I didn't go into render view. That's why in Blender. I just done it in Material Preview, previously called Look Dev Mode. But I did that anyway. So that's that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go to Edit, Deselect, merge both layers down by clicking on the top layer, then go into this little icon here, merging them both down. Okay. I hope this is still recording, by the way. And I'm going to click over in this area, and you can see it's gone everywhere, but I'm going to go to the tolerance at the top here. So I've chosen the magic wand tool, clicked on the sky area. It's given us a problem here, so we're going to bring down the tolerance, yeah, until it does a really good job of it. It's a very good photo editing software, as I say. That's what it's mainly for. You can do this stuff in Photoshop, as I say too, but once it's got that area selected, we're going to press delete, and now we've got that. Now we're going to go to edit, deselect. We don't need to. Okay, I'm going to bring in that sky that I had before. Where's that sky image I had before? Is it in here? Yeah, I think so. You find it. Hold on. I've got other things like manga tones, like half tones and stuff too. I'm not going to use that though. So I'm bringing in my paint sky there. I'm going to just drag it in on top. Go to add layer. bang, it's already selected, so we just need to drag the corner out to our heart's content. Then we're going to bring it below this, then go to adjustment, edit, deselect. I'm going to that's looking good. Now I'm going to go up to here and go to adjustments, bring the brightness up a bit. Oh, it remembers your moves too, so it's like, if that's handy. Playing with that. So the sky was just literally a photo of the sky, and I made it look like the way it looks. Right, now for this, there are other things we could do. Like I could add some colour effects on top of the buildings and stuff, just like give it some colour, but I'm not going to bother doing it. I'm not just going to bother doing it. I mean, I could add like a thing where it masks it and you just literally paint within that area, but I don't know if you can do it in this or not. In this software, but I'm going to keep it as it is. I'm going to merge these two down now as one layer. I would like to put a gradient on top. Let me see if I can do that. Add another layer on top, like we did before. You know, I'm going to choose my colours. Get my colours. Where is it? Let me go to my colours. Where are they? Here they are. Choose what colours I want. Red and yellow. Okay, hold on. Gradient thing. Kind of crazy. Zoom out a bit. Okay. Zooming out by using the zoom tools over in the right hand corner. You can't scroll like you do in and out for the zoom in this. With different gradients you can do up here. Now I'm going to double click on the layer and then go to, for the mode, I'm going to go to like overlay or screen or something. Glow's a good one as well, but let's go to multiply. Is it multiply? Is cool, right? How about screen? No. Overlay is good sometimes. Bring down the opacity maybe on the layer. Yeah, that's what I was kind of going for anyway. Boom. Merge those two layers down now. Get rid of that. Clean up the clutter. Go to adjustments. Saturation. Yep, definitely. Bang. Not that high though. Like that maybe. Okay. We're not going to go crazy. Play around with it as much as you want, you know. Play around with the curve maybe, or the levels. Oh my god, that was crazy. Just remembered my moves. Alright, no, we don't want that. Where's curves? Ooh, curves. Sometimes play with the curves. I know what you're saying. I know what you think. You probably messed the whole damn thing up a bit, haven't I? I know. Okay, we're just trying different things out, you know. So let's undo all that. Go back to what we had. Get rid of our gradient. We don't need that gradient. Let's just leave it as it was with yeah. Yeah, that's better. Back to normal. Now let's go to effects and go to photo and go back glow. Give glow a try. Play down. You know, bring down some of the look. It just gives a bit of a glow to it. You know, nice. That kind of glowing, that look, you know, that nice look. It just makes it nice. Gives it a bit of a softness to it. You see what I mean? Not so rough. Like play around with certain areas, you know. Bang. That's kind of okay. Contrast. You might want to play around with the contrast a bit. You know, I'm being a bit carried away. I mean, it's kind of alright as it is, right? You can go to your blur if you want to try your blur again. Bring it to 1. Yeah, that's pretty nice. You can imagine that in a cartoon. I can imagine that, you know. There's edit. Image. Flip horizontal. Give it a look, you know what I mean? Give it a look. Have a little look over, see what you got. It's not too good when you're zooming because the pixels I made it like the size of the image. The problem, but you can bring in signs. I could put other things like green trees in front here and all kinds of stuff here and make a nice little scene, right? So all in all, I know I can make some like nice kind of looking scenes. This was a piece of art created by me. You know what I mean? The background, sure, is, you know, sure you may draw a house with a ruler and you might say you're cheating because you're using a ruler. I have created 3D geometry here, 3D buildings and blocks. This wasn't even, I didn't even use photos for this one, it's just for the buildings. Literally made it myself, you know. created these shapes. I designed how it looked, right, the sizes, the shapes of it, the roofs and everything, look, and I just bring it in here and just made it look different, changed the look of it, you know, to look like the way it looks, like a soft drawing, to blend in with my characters and stuff, you know. So it's alright. The background, the sky is simple to do freehand, or you can use photos, and then like I did with this one, you know. And there's ways you can do things, right? So yeah. So anyway, it's coming on all right, you know. I'm working towards doing better things, I'll say that. So this time we know now we can do this kind of a look without going into Artweaver even, or Critcell or Photoshop. But they're all great softwares. They really are brilliant. You know, plus Clip Studio Paint, which is a Mega Studio, so it's great. Yeah, but you know, I'm just going to save this image out. Save as on my desktop. Okay, go there. You know, it's nice to have some nice, like, it's nice, I'm just going to delete those ones I don't need, but it's nice to have some, hold on, what is going on here? So it's nice to have some, why is this not closing down? Hold on one second. It's nice to have some, I don't know why that's not, like, closing off. I'll delete that later on, it's okay. But yeah, I don't know why. It was strange. I don't know why. I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. I've totally forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. Let's see, have a check. So the first one we did was this one. You see, that was based. The only difference is as a photo on top of the 3D geometry. The other one is literally just 3D geometry. And you say it looks a bit boring, simple. Yeah, but that's because it's the way I've done it. You know, I could have done it another way. I could have made the windows different, or made different shapes, you know, done different things, done different designs. I made it really simple, just like this anyway, because I was trying to do a simple, quick design for these tests purposely. For these tests today. You know, we can see some differences there in the windows, how they're shaped, but yeah, you know, big thanks for watching, right? Yeah, get creative with the colours and stuff. I'm pretty happy with some of these effects we can do, you know. So thanks very much for watching, and yeah, if you know, again, if you do want to play around with these effects in Photoshop, you can. You know, do that as well. There are filters and stuff in there. I won't take you through all that right now. Okay, I want to say a big thank you for watching. Okay, I really hope this video saves alright. Sometimes they just don't even save. So thanks for watching so much, okay? Take care now. Thanks a lot. Take care. I'm trying to find the thing to turn off and stop the video. Where is it? Where is it, damn it? Hold on. Okay, see you later.